Hi everybody. We are now finally going to have our first freeze in about the next 5 days. So I have gathered all of the tomatoes, the San Marzano tomatoes that I've brought in and ripened, or they've ripened on the vine, so that I can make some tomato sauce. So this includes onions from my garden, tomatoes from the garden, bell peppers from the garden, and all of these herbs from my garden, which are oregano, rosemary, basil, thyme, and parsley. So the only one that I'm not putting in here to roast is parsley, because it's not really good to be cooked charred. It's meant to eat fresh. What I have done is I've included all of these in a roasting pan. I put a piece of aluminum foil underneath it, and I have drizzled olive oil over it and salted and peppered it. And then I just mix them all together, and I'm putting them into a 400-degree oven for 45 minutes so they all roast really well. So I'll be back after that. Here's what it looks like after being in the oven for 45 minutes roasting away. So you can see the herbs have dried. The tomatoes have roasted, their skins are soft and pliable. And now I'm going to put the vegetables into the food processor. I'm scooting aside the herbs for right now because obviously I need to take those off of the stems, because you do not want any woody stems in your sauce. Now, as I said, I'm removing the herbs from the stems and putting those into the food processor along with the vegetables. Now I will process them, and you can process them to the smoothness that you like. I want my tomato sauce to be pretty smooth, so that's what I'm doing. And you see I'm having to wipe it up. I put a little too much in there, and so just be careful. It was overflowing a bit. You will need to do this in batches so you don't make a mess. I'm using a canning jar funnel that I would use if I did can these, but I am not canning this tomato sauce. I'm putting these into glass jars that I have just collected over time. Now you make sure that you do not fill them all the way to the top of the jar, because as they freeze, obviously it will take up more space. So I usually stop about 1 inch from the top. Before I put the lid on, I make sure I wipe the jar to make sure it is completely clean around the rim and around any part of the glass. Now all I do is put a label on the lid so I know what is in there, and I put the date of when I put it in the freezer, and I stick it in the freezer, and that's it. That one tray of tomatoes made about 1 quart and 2.5 pints of tomato sauce. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and will share it with your friends, and like and subscribe. Thanks.